Well, they say now vinyl community, third time's the charm. So happy Friday the 13th. G is for Grateful Dead, aka Skull and Roses, aka Skullfuck. Yes, Grateful Dead, for their 7th live album, wanted to call the album Skullfuck. But Warner Brothers said no, that wouldn't go over too well. Understandably so. Here's a copy or a picture of the quintet: Jerry Garcia on lead guitar, Bill Kreutzmann on drums, Phil Lesh on bass, Bob Weir on rhythm guitar, and Pigpen on vocals, harp, and organ. Overdubs with Merle Saunders on Bertha, and playing in the band in Wharf Rat. Right, go down the tunes. They're pretty stellar, all-star, opening up with Bertha, and it opens up really cool, like you're in a concert. They open the pot, not that kind of pot. Pot is another name for the volume, and you can hear it going up. Mama Tried, Bobby doing a cowboy, Merle Haggard song Big Railroad Blues, an old blues song that Jerry does the rave up, playing in the band that they've been doing for a while, really nice stretched out version of it that became a radio staple. Then the second side is the other one, the great Neil Cassidy song that was done on the second album, Anthem of the Sun. This is a live version with, although Anthem was sort of live and Live Dead was totally live, so this is really their third live album technically. But the other one was Cryptical, and that's it for the other one, which were both on Anthem, kind of combined. And then Me and My Uncle, which was the most played song live for the Grateful Dead, did Big Boss Man, old Jimmy Reed blues song that Pig does, Me and Bobby McGee that Bobby does for Janis, who had just died recently. Jerry went on to do Birdsong on his solo album, which became also a Grateful Dead favorite and staple, a terrific jamming vehicle. Johnny Be Good, the Rave Up, which kind of serves as kind of the end finale with Bertha's opener. Then he comes back, Jerry does Wharf Rat, incredible song also about recovery and not drinking, about a bum and all that. Great song about a character down by the docks. And then the Buddy Holly Rave Up, Not Fade Away, into Woody Guthrie's Going Down the Road Feeling Bad. So, which serve as kind of encore vehicles. So it's sequenced like a Grateful Dead concert very much. It's really, really awesome. The labels have the Grateful Dead skull, the Skull and Roses, the Bertha. There's other one, you can see that, and the badging with the Warner Brothers red badge and the green Warner Brothers labels, and you can see the Skull and Roses on there. And it's a double album, which was nice. So it's lots. This was the first live Grateful Dead I'd heard. I think I'd heard a little of. I'd heard Uncle John's band, and I'd heard American Beauty when it came out. Which, Friend of the Devil. A lot of it's very country oriented. So this was the first live Grateful Dead that I had heard. There wasn't. I hadn't heard Anthem by that song, and specifically Big Boss Man, so that was a good, you can see the NYPL. This was a copy that was donated to me, so I don't know what that is. I need to get some new sleeves, as you can see, for this. I ran out of those. I have the CD version. You can see that. It's the same sequence, really. And I have a magnet over here because I have a magnet set of the Warner Brothers, all the Warner Brothers albums. Kind of cool. And many of the songs came from the Fillmore East, also the Hammerstein Ballroom. At that point it was called the Manhattan Center, and then Fillmore, the Winterland in San Francisco. But this is the live album, Ladies and Gentlemen, Grateful Dead. A lot of the songs from Skullfuck are on here, and many more. And then one more, a couple of months later, Bill Graham, who was so instrumental in promoting the Dead and the Allman Brothers. When we get to A, we'll talk about the Allman Brothers. Oops, I gave A away. But This was Fillmore The Last Days. It's a DVD, and the Grateful Dead do Casey Jones and Johnny B. Good on this. This was a couple of months later in June. Most of these performances were taken from April. I don't think any from March, mostly April. What else can I say? The Dead Freaks Unite. Who are you? Where are you? How are you? Send us your name and address and we'll keep you informed. That was the beginning of the Dead Hens fan club. You can see that on there. Not too many bands had done the pen pal thing. That's really it. I think I covered most of it. Just iconic artwork again. This is kind of an OG copy. I love the Skull and Roses. The history of the Skull and Roses was artwork that Alton Kelly had done in 1966. It was taken from the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyat or some obscure book, and then it was black and white actually, and he colored it in, so he did it really good. Also, she's sometimes called Bertha, Skull and Roses. Really quite something. One time out in the Grove in LA, I was visiting my daughter, and we saw the poster there, right? And that's when Kelly was still alive. I think Mouse had passed away because it was always Kelly Mouse Studios. I had a chance to buy it, but we didn't. So that's Skull and Roses, aka Skullfuck. I just love the whole this album. It's great. Listen to the whole thing before the review, and it's a rocker. It'll rock your socks, that's for sure. And you got a little of everything on there. Billy's drumming on the other one. You get Pig wailing on Big Boss Man. You get Jerry cranking on Big Railroad Blues. You get the ballad. You got Bertha. You got rave ups. You got cowboy songs. You got a little everything that the Dead was good at. The segue of Not Fade Away into Going Down the Road, which is very expertly done with the interplay with the three guitars, Lesh and Weir and Garcia. Really launched them. It was the first album of the Grateful Dead's to go gold. That's also noteworthy. Really put them on the map, and they were offered all solo projects after that. Mickey did a solo album, Bobby did a solo album, and Jerry, of course, did his famous solo album. Next week, we are down to F. And for F, we will go back into country and back to the 60s. So I'll just say that about that. Somebody very, very influential. This album, I did a little research on this album ahead of time, is very, very highly regarded as a 60s country rock album. So I think you're going to enjoy it. And on that note, take care, vinyl community. Hang in there. Keep on rocking. Loving you. Take care. Bye, and happy Friday the 13th.